about bloom. The word is bloom. So let the word bloom come into your field. And let's roll it around our tongue and consider the energetics of the word bloom. So June is about being in full bloom, becoming in full bloom. So increasing our hydration and our nutrition so that the flower of our face can be turned up to the sun and in full bloom. So as I start channeling this beauty energy, go ahead and just find a little bit more ease in the chair or the place that you're watching. And just allow my words to wash over you like water through bricks. And let's see where this takes us. So this was sparked by a meme. I love memes because memes are like little tiny visual and verbal codes that can activate all sorts of stuff. You notice that they usually speak of something that's so common that we can all just go, yeah, that's right. And that's why they're so sticky and viral. A meme literally means virality, to make a copy. So when I see certain memes, they just like light up these like a whole universe for me. And the meme was, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment, not the flower. And that is something that I have been really meditating on and working with in my whole entire career in the beauty field. And in fact, I did a whole quiz like close to 10 years ago about discover your skin nature. And there was different seasons. So we will be in the summer right now. This would be the summer of full bloom. And so the environment that we're in is the epigenetics, it's the soup, it's the daily applications, it's the thoughts that go by our inner screen when we look in the mirror, it's the thing our friend said, it's the little remark that we heard from our mother, it's the unspoken and spoken stories that are living in our cells. Environment is also, speaking of like our friends, it's the garden that we're planted in. So I can't tell you how my life just absolutely transformed when I found a friend, a soul friend, who is Holly, that helps me bloom, that waters my rose, that gives me the nutrition, the energetic nutrition that I require in the reflections around me. So I always think about when I'm working with a woman, especially one-on-one, and we are looking for a big change and looking for a big transformation, I'm looking at her garden. Who is she planted with? How much sunshine is she getting? How much water is she getting? And how much fertilization is she getting? Which, by the way, can be shit. So that's a little something about what bloomed in me when I saw that meme. And along those lines, I have been asked by members of the community about the neck, about our necks and how to work with our necks, and also to speak about collagen. And so the monthly quest was born, and every month we will be taking a deep dive into an herb or a flower. We will be looking at the intersection between beauty and skin and this botanical or this flower. We will take a deep dive into a skincare ingredient, and I'll unpack it through the lens of energetics and being an award-winning. That part doesn't seem to matter to me anymore, but just you know, if it matters to you, I know what I'm talking about. And so we'll break down an ingredient, though I reserve the right to give unpopular opinions about it. And then we will have a magic water recipe. And I think there will be a song that will also come along. The deliverable is almost ready. I was rushing, and then I was like, wait a second. This is my creative business, and I get to do it exactly the way I want, and there's no rush. And just being in that flow of creativity feels so good. So I invite everybody to be in the flow of creativity, and let's get started. So first of all, we're going to do some skin intimacy. We're going to touch our faces together. And so with clean hands, if you need to clean them really quick, go ahead. We don't need oil for this. But with clean hands and activated hands, which means just rubbing them together, just continuing to drop into our bodies and to drop into our individual spaces while feeling this beautiful golden chain that's connecting us all. Like a ribbon weaving in and out, entering through the high heart and out the back between our shoulder blades, and then weaving in and out between all of us while we each feel completely centered and activated in our spine, engaging our pelvic floor, our mula bandha, giving ourselves a nice little pelvic squeeze, standing up, sitting and standing in your spine, nice and straight. Let's actually engage a nice vortex through our spine, actually imagining that we are the stem of an apple, and the energy just splashes up and around and down, gathering up the golden earth frequency, bringing it in, splashing out and picking up a little golden ascension frequency and bringing it down. So bringing up through the spine and up through the top of the head a few times. Really feeling that apple field around you. Really tuning in to being the stem of the apple. And now let's reverse the flow and bringing it up and down through the spine, pushing through the floor. Doing whatever movement comes naturally to you. As we warm up our collagen matrix by engaging our fascia, just do some free form waking up. And my neck is beginning to wake up, so that's an invitation for all of us just to gently, in whatever way feels natural and good, move your neck. We're going to stay away from routines and symmetry with our moves in this space, in this container. That, you know, having a routine and doing the same things the same way has a time and a place and a space. But because we're interrupting patterns and reprogramming our skin, our energy, and our self-image, we want to tune into our source and the community that makes up our body and the light that's inside of our body, and just use our skin tuition and just intuitively move. All right, so now we'll come back to activating hands by rubbing them together, bringing the friction, increasing our own natural light and heat. And then let's just place our hands on our face. Actually bringing all the fingers together, cupping your eyes, resting your elbows if you need support, or resting them on your breast. And let's go into a meditation that our face is a rose. Superimpose a visual of a full bloom rose on top of your face with your eyes closed. This is a visualization exercise. Visualization is a muscle that gets stronger with use. Some of us have synesthesia, so we don't see visual images, we feel the feelings. So in that case, go ahead and activate a library of feelings about what it would feel like to have a rose on your face. And take a deep breath in through your nose and imagine that you're smelling this rose. As you breathe out like you're blowing out a candle through your mouth. And what we're going to do is we're going to blow out any decay in the rose. So breathe in fresh energy, vital life force, plant essence, rose frequency, and then breathe out decay, dehydration, restriction. Again, breathing in, divine pink, peach, moving into skin tone, and then breathe out anything that is not rose. Again, at your own pace, using your own words. Now move your attention away from your breath and just bring all of your awareness inside of your hands at the junction between your palm and your skin. See if you can tune into this junction and turn up the frequency and make it pure gold now. And start to melt the rose and the gold into your skin as if you were pressing in the most precious balm. And you can also move your hands now anywhere you'd like on your face, anywhere that your face needs this energetic balm. Infuse now. Noticing that your fingers are activated and have concentrated amounts of the rose gold balm. Continuing to move your hands down your face until you reach your neck and whatever feels best to you with your neck, maybe hands crossed, maybe just stroking and just invoking a deep sense of connection and skin intimacy, feeling into the tendons and the fibers and the fascia and the collagen. This is the collagen. Continuing to activate the rose gold frequency from your fingertips. And now notice that your neck is a stem. Moving down below the clavicle, your chest is the soil. So I'm just bringing my shoulders up a little bit towards my ears and back and down, really feeling that nice girdle, opening up your angel wings, knowing that every time you do movements like this and keeping your fingertips kind of at right below the clavicle or maybe even right on top, you're activating your lymphatic system and your fascia all working together to pump more hydration, more nutrition, more oxygen, and more light. So forget about all the fancy movements, just focus on the movement and then go where your body tells you to go. So let's move on top of the clavicle and just get to know this area a little bit more. Feeling into the connections, the whole front of the neck, just start seeing all of these long lines in the sheath of fascia here, scalenes. As you are stroking start really intentionally going to the bottom of your jaw. And as if your fingertips were now scanners and you were scanning into your awareness everywhere that you had restriction, constriction, congestion, and stuck waste products, just activate and scan into your awareness all the areas that are still holding on. And at the same time that you're scanning, you're releasing. So just start sweeping down. Getting your armpits involved, sweeping all the way down, making a nice long line from the corner of your ear and your jaw, down your neck, sweeping underneath your armpit. And then just going from side to side, continuing to sweep, tilling your toil, tilling your soil. Making room for flow. Making room for glow. And if you find a place on your neck, a place in the stem that has more restriction than another place, which I have just found a really big sheath of fascia right behind my neck on the right side. So just find any place on your neck that is holding a lot of tension from when you were scanning. Just locate it. And we're creating a point with it. Just getting to know this point A. And now with your other hand, notice and locate a place that doesn't have any tension and also feels firm. And in this context, we're just looking at cellular decay, not necessarily aging. We don't need to conflate it with a number and that, we're aging and certain things are happening at certain ages. What we most want to do is take the age equation out of it and just look at it from a cellular energy perspective. So find an area on your neck that has a lot of energy and firmness and bounce. It's probably going to be behind your hairline where it doesn't get as much sun. And then go back to the point that had tension, and I think you'll notice already that that tension has dissolved and been restored and relaxed and released and returned to its original program of perfection. Keep holding those points until you experience the point A melting and harmonizing with point B. All right, let's just shake that off and we're going to go back up to the face and we're going to use whole hands now and we're going to sweep up our necks. It's almost like we're picking up the flesh underneath our hands and really feeling the quality of the goosh, feeling the quality of our inner waters, of the intercellular water and hyaluronic acid and all of the blood, everything happening and the flesh, feeling the quality of it, and then just beginning to move up your face. My fingers have started massaging in between my eyes, but whatever feels good to you, just activating your palms and doing circles with the flesh. And when you get to your cheekbones and you've got your palms on your cheekbones, spend a little time there. Come up the sides of your temples, move over to the top of your eyes again. Move your palms inside your orbital bone and press down on your palms 8 times gently. Moving them up underneath the top of the orbital bone, underneath your eyebrows, press up 8 times. And then just continue sweeping up. You may hear some little clicking and clacking, and then you're just going to come up over your head. And now we're going to open up meridians, just full hands over the whole scalp and then just down the front. Let's go back up to our scalp. Full hands, just caressing and sweeping out. And let's start flicking off inflammation, identities, expressions, patterns that are no longer relevant or never belonged to us in the first place. Coming back up to the face and the scalp. And then when you get to the back, just give yourself a squeeze on the sides of your shoulders. A little massage here at the top, scanning in your areas of tension so that we can witness and dissolve them. And then grab your neck with your 2 hands interlaced, supporting your head and just doing whatever feels most gentle and good to you. And just allow your neck to hang a little. Just stretching your stem and tilling the soil at the top of the shoulders. I'm just shaking my hands out, which is what feels natural to me. So go ahead and do whatever shaking or loosening, and then bring yourself back into center and just let it all go. Let's scan into our body again using our awareness, the light of our awareness, and let's notice all of the light. Let's notice the activation and the connection. Let's witness the community of cells, molecules, bacteria, yeast, fungus, mitochondria specifically. Let's witness our mitochondria. Understanding that we inherited our mitochondria from our mother and our mother's 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 mothers, and that is the connection. That's the epigenetic connection in our everyday life. The mitochondria are the cellular battery that work alongside fascia, light, and water to produce energy for your body. It is a main source, it's not the only source. They have their own genome, which means they have their own consciousness. They're the most ancient life form on planet Earth. It's the mitochondria's world, and we just live in it. From one perspective, we are their meat puppet, and they require nutrition, movement, and light. They can be upgraded. It's important to know they represent our urges and our survival instinct. If you have F urges, fight, foe, fawn, fill in the blanks. If you get triggered with those kinds of urges, it's important to take a moment and ask yourself, who does this belong to? If it feels heavy on any level, then you can just return it to sender with consciousness attached. But we can make friends with our mitochondria and we can acknowledge them. And I think they love it. Okay, let's talk about collagen. I'm just going to do a little running monologue that has presented itself to me. And it's so helpful for us to learn in terms of metaphors and analogies, because we can just kind of glimpse into it and kind of, and understand it a little bit more deeply. And because beauty has been so co-opted by consumerism, and yet I do sell products and treatments, I always want to temper it though with kind of doing a product neutral approach to looking at ingredients. And so that's the spirit in which we'll talk about collagen. I'm not going to mention any specific brands, but I will lead you to the ones that the types of collagen that I love. And but before I get into like that, let's talk about, and let's do another little metaphor here. So I always think, so first of all, when you hear collagen, you should just hear fascia. The collagen is our fascia, the fascia is our collagen. And so as such, collagen is a sacred fiber. It's our fiber optic cables. It's bringing the nutrition and it's bringing the light and it's bringing the hydration around and it's bringing information. So when you have an intention to build your collagen, what you have an intention to do is to have a deeper relationship with your fascia and take it from just being just this kind of, ingredient that has all sorts of types and forms to really understanding that it is the matrix that's keeping it all together, right? It's the animation of the human avatar. So when I mentioned just a little while ago to pick a piece of skin, to pick a point B that felt fresh and active and firm on your neck, and then I said it would most likely be behind where the sun isn't hitting it. I wanted to kind of dive into that a little bit because I am pro sun on every level. I love the sun. I do not wear sunscreen, and I am 55 years old and do not have any appreciable sun damage besides one little piece of hyperpigmentation that I use as a temperature gauge to let me know when I've had too much sun. And Holly shared this amazing Instagram reel with me, and I'll put it in the Beauty Magic Club chat on Instagram and our WhatsApp app because I thought it was so brilliant, and I will also stitch it and give my own 2 cents. But we have to have a lot of responsibility when it comes to the sun. If you love the sun and you want to be a sun, if you want to practice sun the way I do it, which by the way, I am not recommending to you in this container. I teach you about everything else, the sun stuff. I really need you to trust your own knowing and to follow your own knowing and do what feels good. I know that there's some really beautiful high-end sunscreens out there that I would not kick out of my beauty sacred space if they like fell on me and I was going to be like in Hawaii or Mexico and out in the sun. If I'm planning on getting more than 20 minutes of just natural sun, I will be using a hat, a scarf, and I will not be in the sun. So that's the responsibility piece. However, a lot of us did not bring that awareness to the party when we were growing up, right? And we had extended exposures, and we could have even possibly had photosensitizers in our system that would make it so the UVA and the UVC is more damaging. I'm going to do July will be all about the sun, so I'll dive in more into the different spectrums. But this is all having to say that the parts of our body that have not seen the sun are the freshest parts, right? It's the inside of the arm and all the different parts. And so then that also brings me to the fact that we each individually have to decide on what feels healthy and what is the aesthetic for us. I like having texture on my skin. I like being someone that you can see that I have, sun on my chest. I also take a sun supporting supplement that I will get into in July. So I have a little bit of a tan from that. But I don't mind having signs of the sun on my face and my body. So that's another thing to think about, because everybody gets to choose what they want to look like, and then you reverse engineer that, right? So when I'm giving you guidance, I just want to kind of give you a little bit of the behind the scenes of how I personally relate to sun damage and that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. Back to the collagen. So if these fresher parts of our body are the ones that haven't hit as much sun, right? Because we've been here on the time-space continuum with the sun for a lengthy amount of time, some of us, and those are the freshest parts. I want you to start thinking about this as, let's see, where am I going with this? The fresher parts, I might have to reach for this, but I'm just going to let it tumble out and let's see where it goes. I think I'm trying to connect two little stories together. It's not working. I have to switch gears. Okay. So imagine that you had a fine pair of silk panties, and you maybe got these in Paris, and they're like really heavyweight, and that's the good stuff. It's like really buttery and thick. We've all had a piece of silk like that in our life, right? Just a piece of silk. And imagine that you put that piece of silk in the washing machine with a really heavy duty detergent and just washed it every single day. Imagine that. And then also imagine that you took that silk and you just beat it over some rocks to clean it. Then after that, you hung it out on a clothesline and just let it dry out in the sun for more than 20 minutes. What is the silk going to look like? That is the collagen breakdown. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's fibers. There's fibers. Another a visual is a spider web. Imagine a beautiful spider web that's all connected and interwoven. And then the places where there's a break in the spider web, that is where there is a wrinkle or there's some collagen degradation. So that's another way to think about it. I have prepared in the workbook a whole thing about all the different types of collagen and my overall, and tons of resources, but let me just kind of give you an overview of it, and then I want to open it up for discussion and change the subject. But my overall philosophy for collagen is like how we did the skin. Remember how I said we're going to bust out of like doing it the way everybody does it, because if the way everybody did it worked, we wouldn't be here, right? There's limitations to what they have told us and what they have sold us. And so I just follow my own knowing. I use several different collagen types. I have a marine powder. I have a bovine powder. I make my own bone broth. I am supporting with as much vitamin C as possible. And I am massaging and having intimacy with my fascia. So the long and the short of it is that I think collagen can really be beneficial for supporting our inner matrix, but it will never be about one brand or one type, if that makes sense. And that seems obvious, actually. Okay, I've talked for a really long time. I'm going to take a break from talking. And I'm going to open it up for any discussion or shares or questions. And then we're going to also talk, we're going to go back to the rose, and in the workbook. So it's a quest, it's a June quest. One of the quests this month, and I hope you take me up on it, is to make your own rose syrup with rose petals. You can get dried rose petals online really, really easily, organic, or if you happen to have a garden of your own, or maybe there's like a farmer's market, someone that grows roses. I live in a farming area, so I am picking up like, I think I'm going to get like 5 pounds of organic rose petals. And all you do is make a simple syrup with the rose and then bottle it and use it in drinks and ceremonies. And just the act of making this rose syrup, or you could make it rose water if you preferred, is one of the quests. And yeah.
So Amy, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you repair damage to collagen?
Yes.
How
Yes.
do you repair it?
You repair it by supporting it internally by, if we think back to that spider web where there's a break in the collagen, there's a break in the web. Guess what repairs it? LED light. The LED
Oh,
light is warming it up at the bottom. It's getting the mitochondria all excited. The mitochondria start replicating and putting energy into the cellular division and replication. The collagen starts warming up, plumping up. The fibers start knitting back together and it knits it back together. That's how it works.
oh.
At the very most simplest terms. I mean, that's a gross oversimplification on one level, but on the other level, and that's another thing I want to talk about. While I've been doing the light lift classes and, getting like really clear about what the Beauty Magic Club is, a lot of it is professional grade education for every woman, right? Some of us are estheticians, but I find it's really valuable that this stuff not be too complicated. And there's plenty of places for science. If you want to get into all the science, I know the science and I love the science, but if we get ourselves too hung up on the science, remember that science is a system of gathering conclusions based on what one person wants to look at and see if they can find. So because wellness is just happening in all these little tiny everyday moments where we're not sitting down and like doing a big meditation or something, but we're just applying the product and it's happening in 1 minute. Like in order to transform that 1 minute, we have to completely tune into our own source and our own knowing. And yeah, we know the science is there, but we just have that little bit of like, oh, it's a matrix. Oh, it's a spider web. Oh, it's a silk panty. And then it just feels like so much different, right? On that note, these are just my opinions about skincare, especially when I said beating the panties over the rocks. Like when people tell me that they use scrubs on their skin, that's exactly what I see. I just see like us just beating up the skin to try to get it to do something. So the damage of the collagen of the fascia can certainly be mended and improved. Of course, there's always going to be some cellular senescence, which is cellular death, and that's why we want to increase our mitochondria and we want to increase the length of our telomeres on the chromosomes. We want to get our replication and our regeneration back to where it was when we were younger. We're not trying to be younger. We're just trying to get more energy in so that the decay isn't happening at such a fast rate. But everywhere that you felt a tension place on your neck, or on your face, that is where there is a dam in the river. So you can also think about your fascia and your blood and your lymph and your energy as just being these great rivers. And no flow, no glow, right? So where there is constriction, that's dehydration. That is a place where it has bunched up and the energy and the information is not flowing. So for those of us that have the magic wand, which I think is most everybody in the room, one of the techniques, and we'll get into this in the light lift week 3, is just go to wherever you feel the dam in the river or the break in the spider web. And just allow the ball to rest on that space. I need to hear from all you guys. How is this for you? Do you feel Can you feel all that energy? Can you feel like the activation of the light underneath the ball? So that light, that's repairing right there. We have that same light coming out of our own finger. So we don't want to forsake our own body as being the most important and valuable asset that we have. But this wand is a concentrator. It's a dissolver. Ooh. It's an activator. It's an enlightener. It's an enlivener. And so did you see how I was going from letting go to bringing in? Everything is a pulse in the universe. So we want to bring in the fresh blood flow and nutrition, but it can't get in unless we're letting go. What else is like that? That's the infinity symbol that we're working with. Bringing in and letting go, bringing in and letting go. Every single breath is an opportunity to begin again. But that is a great question.
I have another one.
Yeah, bring them.
I also
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah.
Yay.
Uh, should I go ahead, Holly?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Amy, so can you talk a little bit about glutathione? Because I know you sell it in your store, and I know it's like amazing for antioxidation.
Yeah, I got you guys. I have such an amazing product line. I'm really trying to figure out how to talk more about it. It's just the amount of education and videos that I have stacked up. The glutathione is in that stack. There's a big article coming out and there's going to be videos. I don't really know of any other product line that has this. My formulator, he's a compounding pharmacist, so he makes vitamins. So the topical formulas are topical nutrients, and the glutathione is the most bioavailable form on the market, especially the one that I sell as a supplement form. So if you're struggling with any sort of past sun damage from when we were out in the sun, way past when we really should have been, and that's what the video that Holly shared with me is about, that the sunscreen, basically when we wear sunscreen, we're going out in the sun much longer than we were ever supposed to. And so that's a whole nother pendulum. But the bottom line is some of us have hyperpigmentation from hormones, from a whole range of different things. If you are suffering from that, the glutathione is a really powerful way to support your body. Glutathione is our master peptide. So glutathione is responsible for all of the processes. And again, it's feeding the mitochondria. So it's a really expensive ingredient. And almost every single one of my topical formulas have glutathione. And so they work by supporting the skin at a very deep level. Holly has, I know she just got done with a trinity of serums, or you might still have it. You'll notice it's the products work by feeding the skin, and then the internal glutathione, the same thing. You would take 2 on an empty stomach. I like to do rounds of my own glutathione, so I'll take it for a quarter and go off for a quarter and then take it for a quarter. And on my off quarters, I use a different form. I use NAC, which is a precursor to glutathione. And I am under the care of one of the leading hormone specialists in the world. So I have kind of a high-end supplement routine already. And good news is that she's going to come and do a special class for the light lift just for us. And I'm going to be able to refer you to her because her books are closed in general. So that's coming. But yeah, glutathione is it's the next level topical ingredient. There's like there's this guy on TikTok that talks about how all skincare is wrong and like glutathione is the only thing that you should be using. And I got to connect with him because it's like my product line is kind of like a hidden secret. On that note, I hid my products from the public and I put it behind the Beauty Magic Club back in October. I needed to do that to kind of do an identity shift away from being a product line owner. If it's just products, and I can't, I'm just not interested in it. because ultimately any product could work really great with intention and energy. And even my product cannot work for women if they will not bring themselves with the party, you know? And every time I see someone stop using my product or something, that they never came and took a class or took the time to like look at a little deeper, and they either cancel the club or they stop using the product, I just think, okay, that's just proof. You could have the very best product in the world, but if you don't understand what you are trying to create and add your own, so you've got to be, we all have to really transition into being the most valuable ingredient, and then activating the product with that intention and knowing that's when you're going to really start seeing big results with my product line, because my product line is already so good. But it's the belief layers, it's the belief that holds us back. So that was a little rant, but Holly, what was your other question?
Well, you've been introducing me to quantum physics, and I've been listening to one of the books that you introduced me to called The Holographic Universe.
Oh, so good.
And with that, it just talks about how basically like we already know this, but it's like creating your own reality, and your belief system creates what you are basically experiencing. So my question is, can I relate that back to like my own personal experience with the sun? Since you're talking about the sun, is I my whole life felt like the sun actually heals me. And so I do wear like a light mineral sunscreen on my face, but I
I do
don't use
too.
the
Yeah.
traditional sunblocks, and I don't use all that. But I really feel like the sun heals me. So is it that my intention, like I don't have sun damage? I'm sure I have some sun damage, but I've never bought into the belief system
Yeah,
that the
you
sun
never bought into it.
ruined my skin.
100%, you never bought into it.
Yeah, I feel like it actually heals my skin. So, and I know that there's like such a deficient in vitamin D, and that's the way my body receives the most vitamin D. Even supplements can't really do it. So there's that as far as like an observation. So can I program the sun to be good for my skin? Number one. And the second one was about the light, the lamp. So I go under my LED lamp and I want to go into the magic mirror room. And y'all, I fall asleep. Like I literally go somewhere else where my intention is like I'm gonna go into the magic mirror room, and then before I know it, I'm coming out. I'm like,
See?
wait,
You went in.
okay,
Yeah, you went in. And don't worry,
okay.
it's more of just a device to get us in a new rhythm. So I mentioned we're breaking out of the way that the Muggle world does beauty,
Mm.
but we are breaking into a new rhythm, and we do want a new rhythm to fall into, because then that's our new normal, and then our whole body and being responds to that. So don't worry about that, but I want to talk about the sun and programming. So don't worry about trying to program the sun. Ask the sun to program the water.
Mm.
Whisper into the water.
Mm.
Your body is made of water, so just affirm it to yourself. I do believe it's a belief layer. um I just feel called to share a little story and nuance about this. When I was like, so I was raised on a hippie commune, and my dad would opt out of society once a year and take us to a beach in Mexico. So I lived in a chicken coop part of the time, and then the other time I lived in a palapa with a pop-up tent on a beach. Like, so I mean, it was really cool, but just, things. So that was like in the 70s and 80s. And I remember that that sunscreen was just invented. And then my dad was like, I think you're supposed to be using this. And so he would give it to me and we would put it on. And my dad was also really into high-end things. So like in the 80s, I had like Lolita products and really nice organic things, like the beginning of like the natural industry, right? So I was always reading the back of the ingredient labels and stuff. And so back in those days, I was reading the back of the sunscreen thing and I was just like, I don't think so. And so I just never liked it from back then. But then I also was starting to understand and hear about, I was just always interested in these things. So I was worried about being in the sun. I started worrying about it. So I remember when I was in high school, I went through a whole, not goth, but I was just kind of like, you know, I was covered. Like I wouldn't go to the beach with my friends and I just wouldn't go into the sun. That was just something that was from a very early age. So that was also, I think, a belief system. Now, based on that, that's why I don't want to recommend anybody just to fully just embrace what I'm saying the way I do it or the way that Holly does it. You have to come to your own knowing, because there is a lot of skin cancer. But I ask you this, why is there 80% more skin cancer every year, or some sort of crazy? I'll have to get the real number, that it's something around 80% of something. That's not exactly correct though. So let me get a correct data on that. But skin cancer is increasing every single year, despite all of these breakthroughs in sunscreens. So what? What is the deal here? I think it's PUFAs. I think it's polyunsaturated fatty acids that we're eating and that we're putting these crazy freaking oxysalicylates, and you know, Monica's an esthetician, and Holly, you are as well. Just these weird ingredients. And by the way, here's another, let's just preview the July class. The way that the chemical sunscreens work is by waiting for the heat to activate the chemical in the skin to neutralize some of the effects of the UVB and the UVA rays. I don't think they work on C at all, but obviously they don't. A for aging, B for burning, C for cancer. So if the skin has to get heated up for the chemical to activate, what is activating the melanin in the skin? It's the heat. So the body gets hot and the skin is like, I love you. Body's like, I love you. Let me make some pigment to protect you and give you a nice little automatic, like your glass is getting darker. That's what it is. It's supposed to be there and it's good. But if you have too much of it and you've got heat, and then you're eating like a really low vibe diet, plus you're putting chemical sunscreens on, then you've got the heat on there, that itself is making hyperpigmentation. So, you know, I find myself drifting farther and farther and farther away from mainstream science. I just can't wrap my head around how they can be telling us that these things. You know, and the other thing is because I worked for the formulator who discovered the peptide for the whole entire cosmetic industry. Like he was the only maker of lauric acid in the world and a huge peptide manufacturer. I really saw behind the scenes on so many things. And the way that the FDA tests sunscreen, first of all, it costs 50 grand to get a test. And you produce your product, and it's tested with a shot glass full applied to the face every 2 hours in order to get the rating. Who in the hell is putting on a shot glass full of sunscreen every 2 hours? So you just have to just know that the sun is good in a 10 to 20 minute level, or for Holly, who lives in Arizona, who's, you know, we think of us as flowers too. Some flowers can take more full heat, right? Roses like full heat. I am the kind of flower that needs a lot of moisture. I was thinking about that with us, Holly, because I live in this magical place. Everybody who is in my world, come and stay with me. I have a top 10% Airbnb in my backyard that is like a fairy flower magic universe with outdoor bathtubs and outdoor shower and a living wall and right by the ocean, and the mist is always there. And I'm always thinking like, I'm a flower that needs like a lot of like mist. So we're all different. We all have different flowers. So yes, I saw in the chat, Monica, absolutely. I do wear mineral sunscreen. I've always worn mineral sunscreen. And pro tip, all makeup is mineral sunscreen. Okay, that's a marketing thing. Anything that has a pigment is a mineral, and anything that is a mineral has a natural reflective ability. So I always like to think of the particles of titanium and zinc as mirrors. So it's like a million tiny little mirrors reflecting the sun back off your face. We can get into like some nano mineral territory, and if they're bad for the bloodstream and things like that. Yes, so that's why colored minerals that you're not trying to nanosize into your skin are best, right? You want to have a colored mineral, so that is best. by Julie. So the one that I use, and it is linked in my Amazon store in the Beauty Magic Club, it's called Illuminare, and it's made by an esthetician here in California. It is the most random product. I've used it for 20 years. It's an SPF 23 by Holly. I love you. It's an SPF 23 and it's a liquid mineral that's self-adjusting. And any mineral is good though. Osmosis, I started with Bare Minerals back in the 80s or the 90s. Bare Minerals is fine. What you want to make sure of though is if you're using your mineral makeup as a sun protection, that you are putting enough on, right? So that you want to pat it on and go like this and almost like make the mask. Let it set, or if it's a brush, do 3 times around. Have the intention that you're creating a protective screen over your face. Otherwise, if you're just randomly putting a little bit on and it's just sort of random, it's not going to be sun protective. Does that help, Monica?
Yes, it helps, Amy, but I don't like tint. I like it sheer, and all the ones that you're talking about have tinted
Yeah. Well, the sheer is
shades.
the nano size, and the nano size is nano, and nano is getting down deep. I'm not saying that it is getting to bloodstream, but I wouldn't personally, I'm not using it. What do you think, Monica Waters? Hope you're on mute. This is a really good special conversation. And Monica, you can just unmute. We can just chat. Everybody unmute. Oh, Monica Waters is still muted.
Mute. Can you hear me now?
There she is.
Personally, I use a tinted one. I don't like how that just the mineral itself makes me look really white because I'm very pale as it is.
Yeah.
But a lot of my clients use I sell only one, and it's Luzerne SPF.
That's a really good
And
one.
yeah, and that's the only one that I sell. And the Lunanaster, I just buy at Blue Mercury for myself. So I think it's kind of a personal choice.
It's a personal choice, and
Yeah.
I agree. I appreciate you adding that, and I agree. It's a personal choice for me not to wear it at all because
Yeah.
it's don't. And also, friends, I'm not going in the sun that often. I'm going out to the beach for like 10 minutes and then out, getting a little, and then I have to put my flower away
Yeah.
and keep her hydrated. So okay, so now that I have both of you here, let's see, Monica Waters, I wanted to make sure you got your login. Let me see, let me go over to my system and see if they wrote me back. Did you use that same email for logging in?
I don't remember. So I have to go back and check in on that.
Use the H2O and let's see if you can reset it that way.
Okay.
And then we have to have nicknames for you.
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico, Monica, Mexico. No, that's not right.
I'm Monica H2O.
You're Monica. Ooh, that is so perfect.
I love it.
So, Monica in Mexico, did you get your light wand?
No, not
way?
yet. No,
Okay.
it takes like months. Yeah, I should have given you the US address. That's
Oh,
fine.
I hope
Yeah,
it's just out there, just floating
yeah.
around.
It's in the ether somewhere.
Okay, well,
I'll get to me now, but yeah.
I'm going to see if I can track it and we'll see about the other address. We can see if we can recall it maybe, or just return it to sender when it gets there. So I'm going to work on
Thank you,
that.
Amy.
And then Monica's going to get started. She just got back. Glastonbury. Were you in Glastonbury?
Yeah.
Was that magical?
Oh my God. It was like a homecoming for me. We went to activate the Kundalini dragons under the tour. And, we visited a lot of the sacred sites. We did a lot of chanting and toning to lift the frequency of the earth. And, yeah, it was just firing up the grid. It was really magical. It was so amazing. And
Mm.
I felt like when I passed Stonehenge, I was like, oh my God, I've been here so many times before. It was just like a remembering. And something really big shifted for me there. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I felt like I regained lost parts of myself, and I feel so much more whole and complete since I got back. I feel
Mm.
really joyous, like very much in the present moment. It's just been really beautiful.
I love that. Well, this will be
Yeah.
a perfect energy for you to embark on the light lift then.
Yeah.
And I am here to answer any questions while we're still here. So essentially what you're going to do is just once you get in the back end, get into the workbook, read it,
Yeah.
go and look at it, read it through. The whole long and short of this is that it's just a very subtle, it's a ritual that we're going to do weekly. And I'm going to onboard you each week with little aspects of it. And like the water class only ended up being 37 minutes, and I could have made it like 3 hours, but I just thought, what? Let's all just kind of get into the morphic field of the different things that I'm presenting.
Yeah.
Like I said in class, let's let this be easy. Just the liminal information we need to know. And I think you can both of you can feel this, right? That we can access each other's energy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I feel the minute
Yeah.
on, I was like, okay, I have to hit record. It's starting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can plug into, I'm holding like a container for
Yeah.
the weight lift. You can access into my container, into my brain, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the concept. And then each
Yes.
we do the ritual, because if you think about it, every now and then I get muggled thoughts that don't belong to me. And I'm like,
Mm.
it was like,
Oh,
this is just a facial ritual. What? And then I had to kind of go like, I don't know who that belongs to, but it's inside of that ritual that I think what we're doing, I don't feel comfortable coming out and saying it right away, but we're quantum jumping into the next
yeah.
version of ourselves
Yeah. Yeah.
through the ritual.
Yeah.
And so let it
Feel
be,
that. I just got goosebumps.
yeah, let it be like that. And then all of the things, like these are just the fun things, the water
Yeah.
activations. We're down here playing our fun game. We have all gathered together. They're just the right people. There's 8 of you, right? So how incredible is that? And this is only the beginning. So I'm glad we have the WhatsApp. I felt a lot better when I got that going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
That's
know what,
great.
Amy, also give us resources. Like if you want to go like deeper, you give us
Yeah.
all the resources. So that's perfect,
Okay,
like
good.
everyone can go to their own pace and their own depth, and it's amazing.
I linked all 4 of the books that I talked about in the water thing. And then the switch words, you can just Google. There's so much information on it. But the water class is really good. And do you need a gallon? You need a gallon of water. And have you made yours yet, Monica?
No.
Here's mine.
Starting, yeah.
Wow,
and
beautiful.
did you bring any water back from Glastonbury by chance?
I did, but I drank it.
Oh,
I got it from the chalice well.
okay.
And I was at the airport and I was so dehydrated and I thought, oh, I'm
That's
just
why
going
you
to,
feel so good.
and it's going to be in me anyway. So,
So yeah, so go through, and when you make your mother well,
yeah.
I like to just hold my mother well, like on my chest like a baby,
Mm.
and hug it, and so just shine that water molecule back into this water.
Mm.
And I think
I
that will,
do have some blessed water from Amma, the hugging saint, that I can
okay.
add in there.
Yeah, you can add a little of that into your mother well.
Yeah.
Just that this is kind of a new concept that you'll just be hopefully just onboarding for the rest of your life. Like you have your mother well, you're going to redo the mother well every 3 months.
Okay.
So you'll take off of it, you'll like take a scoop, and I never really specified that, but I think it'd be obvious. You just open the lid, pour a little bit into your glass, then add regular water on top.
Mm-hmm.
You're not drinking an entire thing of Motherwell. The molecules just everybody comes together once they meld. 1 drop of methylene blue, And the methylene blue should be drank every single day. Have a blue water every day.
Okay.
But specifically before you go under your light and do your magic mirror room visualization, you want to drink at least 4 ounces of the blue water
Okay.
that has, and then for your regular glass, have the, mine isn't near, but the tensor ring. And Monica, you might also like when you're doing facials to wear the tensor ring up on your left arm.
Okay.
Okay, those tensor
Yeah.
rings are little friends. They just want to come with you everywhere you go.
Oh, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. And then, gosh, I want to someday ask you all sorts of questions about your practice and gosh, I feel like, yeah, there's a way for you to be doing all of this on your clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, right now my practice is, so I'm trained in Reiki, reflexology. I'm also an ordained interfaith minister, and I work with essential oils. So I kind of combine it all into my treatment, and it becomes like a little experience for my clients. So we do guided meditation and, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, it's a
Yes.
lot of really
Yes.
beautiful stuff, but this is going to add so much more. And I can't wait till you start training estheticians in this,
Well,
because
this is the thing. You will have to present yourself to me. So you
yeah,
come to the Airbnb and have
yeah,
a 3-day training. So basically, Monica, this is it.
yeah,
I
tell
have
me.
an entire energetic facial system, an entire
Yeah,
system. There's a
yeah,
activation, there's a process, there's a consultation, there's a sales system. It's how I did my high-end luxury facial business. And I was
yeah,
just always making it as a training at the same time.
yeah.
Every time I have gone to work in the esthetician world, and I just ended my last, I had my course at the Solo Esthetician Academy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a mismatch. The general audience of estheticians are not quite ready for this.
They're not ready for it. They're years behind.
They're not ready, and I can't
Yeah,
cull through them. And if I take myself off what I'm doing for the consumer, it really holds me back. So the
yeah.
moment I let go of that last thing, I was like, then the light lift just,
Mm,
it could come forth. I had all the
yeah,
classes,
yeah,
but you have to understand that because this is the energy I'm working with, I'm running around like a mad scientist, like writing notes in my notebook and sitting down and
yeah,
on my computer. My husband's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what are you doing? And I'm like, I just got this whole entire formed idea and I have to write it down. So there's
yeah,
entire training, but I think
yeah,
what's gonna happen is people like you will come to me
yeah. Beautiful.
after this experience. We'll talk about it. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is I am going to open up a mastermind.
Mm,
The reason I need to do this, it'll be a business mastermind. We will not be learning energetic
yeah,
facials things. We will be, because the way that I work, it could be your face, the face of your brand,
mm,
how you face the world. It doesn't really matter. It's all kind of, there's a
yeah,
different lens for it.
yeah.
And I have a lot of business coaching, like Holly has been my client for her brand. I did a complete and total rebrand with her because it ends up being that your website and your logo, it's it's your energetic
Yeah,
body of
yeah,
your brand. And so there's just a lot of people that are at the level that want to talk about their brand, but not necessarily doing a treatment or anything like that. So there will be a mastermind opening probably in the next month. So I'll keep you apprised of that. And it'll
wonderful.
be just a really nice price that's easy and doable. And we will
Yeah.
be meeting 3 times a month and talking about the brand, marketing, spiritual branding, connecting them with our soul clients, serving at a high level, having an energetic relationship to money,
Mm-hmm.
because money and beauty are literally the same exact thing,
Yeah, it's like
right?
an energy, right?
They
Yeah,
exchange, they
yeah,
flow, they grow. So yeah, so that's
yeah.
happening.
I love it.
Yeah, there's a
Very
lot.
exciting.
Yeah, so let me know I'll be here checking my email in the next little while. So see if you can reset with the Monica H2O email.
Okay,
That's where your light lift is located.
very good.
And we will get you in the back end. It's kind of like seems a little confusing but once you get in, it's very clear.
Yeah, once I get in, I'll be fine. Yeah.
And would you actually, Monica, is it okay if I do a little screen share? Let me show you something.
Girls, I'll let you talk. I'm sending you so much
Okay,
love.
perfect.
Bye.
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 Okay, so you'll come here
Yeah.
and let me just show you what it looks like in the back end so that you kind of get an idea. Once you're logged in, you will see this.
Okay. Yes.
And then from here, everything that you click into has got something,
Okay.
either a PDF
Okay.
or a video,
Beautiful.
calendar links, the replay of the Magic Mirror Room. The Magic Mirror Room actually had 4 videos that came out of it last Sunday. There was a program overview, the foundation of our ritual, the Magic Mirror Room, and then there is a Magic Mirror Room guided meditation.
Mm.
And then the water classes in, the resource links. And then I started just doing the slides. So you don't have to download things. You can just go to the link
Okay.
and look around for the resources. And then week 3, I'll be dropping the classes on Fridays.
Okay.
But doing your skin today, getting in and doing it today would be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I need
Okay.
to get started. All
Okay.
right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Amy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.